You're listening to RTI Audio, powered by Rocky Top Insider. This is Pancakes and Bacon with VFL, Kyler Kerbyson, and Reed Bacon.
Hello, Vol Nation. Welcome to another episode of Pancakes and Bacon. I'm your host, as always, Kyler Kerbyson. Join us, Reed Bacon. Wow, exciting news right before we record. Nico will be starting in the bowl game versus Iowa, which is absolutely incredible. Cannot wait to talk about that with my boy. We're also breaking down all the other guys that we didn't a part of the 2024 signing class, all of the guys from high school that are coming up, not necessarily the transfers, but yeah, super excited for this one. Talk about a little Christmas gifts and things of that nature. But first, before we get into any of that, Reed, how we doing, bud?
Merry Christmas, Kyler. Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas, big boy.
Merry Christmas, Reed.
What was your favorite gift you got besides those naked photos from me?
Yeah, what a Christmas morning to wake up to. So
only thing that would have been better is if I was right next to you.
Yeah, exactly. I would say my favorite gift, which I'm wearing right now, is a watch. This was my uncle's watch, my mother's youngest brother. And he sadly passed away when I was in 7th grade. And he was a very kind and gentle person. And, you know, I was close to him, and it was the first passing in my family that I kind of understood and really felt. And it was special that my mom gave me this watch. She got it fixed up a little bit, and I'll try and put it in the camera here, but it's a little Tennessee watch.
Nice.
You can see that, but it's got the little UT and the Vols on there.
Love that. Yeah, I can barely see it, but yeah, I can. If you get too close, it blurs it out, but I can see it. That's awesome.
Yeah, so fantastic present my mom got for me. She just kind of held on to the watch for a while. Like I said, 7th grade. So
yeah,
got that this Christmas, and like it was one of those like almost like tear jerkers. Like really kind of felt a little frog in my throat. So
yeah, those are the best.
Definitely have to put that up there, number one this year.
No, that's awesome. Those are the best type of gifts. They really are. Well, at least for me, you know, like I'm with you, like sentimental stuff, and that's awesome. So you all went to, let's see, you came into Knoxville, correct?
Yeah.
And then you went to a cabin or something?
Yeah, so went to Knoxville, did 2 Christmases in Knoxville, and then went to a cabin down in Georgia and did another Christmas down there. So 3 in total this year.
How was the cabin?
It was good. It was a small little cabin that we stayed in, but we had a good time. It was just 2 days, just hanging out, watching movies.
Yeah.
We went and everyone got a massage at like a place, so that was nice. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, exactly. I knew you'd like that. We were planning on like going to, there's like a Hallmark town down in Georgia that's just like decked out in everything Christmas.
Is it like where they film movies?
Well, I don't know if they film movies there, but it's like specifically like meant to be Christmas. Like it's just, that's the way it is. And we were going to go on Christmas Day, but then it was just pouring rain all day.
Oh, okay.
So, but it was still a fantastic time. So I know you traveled as well for Christmas.
Yeah, I did. I went down to the 901 to the land of Zach Randolph and Jaw Wick and young Dolph, rest in peace. And so I went down there and saw not only the Chiozas, because that's my family, but then the Bufords, which is Liz and Bailey, since they're married, and the Georges, so Austin and Lee. But yeah, I got to basically see my aunt and uncles and cousins, and so it was a blast because we didn't see them for Thanksgiving, so I love seeing them. And yeah, it was awesome. It's just good to be. I haven't been to Memphis in a while, and I didn't get to catch I want to go back, and I will go back to catch a Grizzlies game sometime this spring. So I'm fired up for that. But yeah, just really good time, and I love the holidays just because I love being with the family whenever it is. So
yeah,
it was a great time. But it was good to get back, see Megan. I did Christmas with her and her mom before I left, but it was good to get back yesterday and see her. I'd really, really, really missed her. But so it was great holidays.
What was your favorite gift?
My favorite gift?
Yeah.
My Aunt Tina always does a really good job of getting me some like cool, like either sentimental type stuff or whatever. Like one year she did a collage of you and I from the podcast, which when I have an office, I'll put it up. It was, she got a hat, and I should have grabbed it, but it's in the other room, and I was too busy of carrying my tea, the iPad, and notes back here. But it's a Pancakes and Bacon hat. So it's orange, and it says Pancakes and Bacon on the back. It says, "How you doing, bud?" So it's cool. I'll wear it one time, or at least put it on for the first little bit. But it'll be set up in an office whenever I
we
move
should
out.
If we get to that point of selling merch, we should do hats with literally just like a pancake and a bacon, like a little pancake and a bacon on the front. They're orange. That could be great.
That's funny. Yeah, that's funny. That's funny. So that was a good gift. But favorite. I got another hat that I got that I've been really, really wanting was a Titan. It's a Titans hat. It's just Tighten Up. It's not like from the Titans. It's someone that made it. It's from Etsy. Yeah. It's dope.
Yeah, you're pretty much saying any kind of official Titans merch is not dope.
No, it is. It is. I'm not like, I don't really wear a lot of hats. You all see me on here. My favorite hat is my Bridgestone hat because I like the way it looks, but also because it fits so well. Because I don't like stuff on my head would bother me. You'll see it on here. I'll be wearing a dang hat and pull it off in 5 minutes because it just bothers me. But yeah, I got some great gift cards, got some clothes, got a new Xbox controller because I needed a new one. And he chewed the back off of my other one. So I had to tape it up, but there would be some times I'd be sitting here just getting finger happy and dominating, and I would feel the back of it come open. So
trying to play COD, just controller disconnected.
Dude, I'm like over here trying to save the world from terrorists, and I'm getting a warning.
Trying to start freaking touchdowns with Derrick Henry and freaking pause the game.
But anyways, yeah. So I got a lot of good stuff. Probably not one thing like that memorabilia, like a token of a family or one of those type things this year. But I'm super blessed and super fortunate. Get good stuff every year. So happy about that. But I will say this, Kyler, I got some great news and a great present. Segue. When I found out that Nico was starting, I was just, I'm not even going to say relieved.
It's a late Christmas gift for sure.
I was just so happy on so many levels. And no offense, but if you've watched this, you know that I'm tired of Joe. I'm done with Joe. So the fact that I don't have to watch him, and no disrespect to him, but the fact that I've seen it, I know what it is, and I don't have to watch it anymore, I'm pumped.
Exactly.
I think Nico's going to be really, really good. So I'm excited to see him and get to watch him and enjoy him. And I think I was scared about betting that game. And now that Nico's starting, I'm probably going to hammer Tennessee because I feel like he's going to be that good. And when I mean that good, I think he's just going to be that much better than Joe, meaning he's not going to miss a lot of open throws. The play that's designed to get there. Matter of fact, I saw something on the Rocky Top Insider Twitter today, and I read it real quick as I was I forget, I don't know if I was like about to work out or what, and I read it real quick before I put my phone up, but it was like Coach Heupel was saying, hey, he just needs to get the ball to playmakers' hands.
Yeah.
Things are going to happen, but just play the game, see how it goes. And I was like, yeah, it is that simple, isn't it, Josh? Like, now you're going to have a guy that can hit the guys when they're supposed to be there. And I'm not talking about just bad throws. I'm talking about where we would watch the game and someone would be wide open where the play was designed to go, and he just doesn't let it rip. So,
yeah.
Man, I am beyond excited to watch.
I'm excited. Listen, I'm excited too. I think some part of it that you're saying that like you expect the game to be better, right? You expect Tennessee's offense to run smoother with
1000%.
Nico than with Joe. I don't know that. I don't feel it as confidently as you might feel it. And maybe it's more stemmed in the disbelief in Joe than the belief in Nico. Or maybe it's a little 50-50.
Good point. No, I feel you. Yeah, I feel you.
When I'm thinking about this, I'm very, very excited for Nico to play. I think there's so many things that he can learn from this game. And it's like, yes, like he gets a preseason game before 2024. That is how it feels, because in totality, this game does not matter at all. Like in totality, it doesn't. So let's go out and try some shit. Let's do some shit that you know you can do. Let's play the best ball that you can play. Let's gain some knowledge. Like, I love that opportunity. I don't necessarily 100% confidently say, oh, this offense is going to be better in this game because Nico is in there. I still think there's probably going to be some growing pains. I think there's probably going to be some MAs, some maybe not on the same page with guys, just because it is a first start. And I like that. Like, I wrote down in my notes when I was like, all right, what kind of talking points do I want to talk about with Nico? And it was, some of the things that Coach Heupel said, which you brought up, is giving the playmakers opportunities. That's exactly how Nico should see it. That's exactly how he should play it, as I am not the one to make all the plays. Everyone else is. I'm going to give them opportunities to do it. And that Heupel's not saying I expect perfection out of him. I just expect him to be who he is. And I just hope that it is a challenging game for him. I really do. And I don't mean that in like he's got 1 second to throw the ball, the offensive line's letting dudes free. I don't mean that in, hey, nobody is able to get open at all. I just mean that in like, hey, you've got 2 minutes, 20 seconds, and 1 timeout before half, go score. You've got, hey, there was just a turnover on offense and they went down and score. How are you going to react? Those kinds of like scenarios, like put some pressure on him a little bit during this game. Like, I want to see that. I want this game to be difficult. So Nico's like, I got this, right? I'm not worried. I got this. And if it is difficult and he does show out, which I think he can, everything going into the offseason. I mean, Nico can change the hope of the entire program, the recruiting of the entire program, the freaking play calling, the freaking personnel. Like, him playing a certain way can change all of that stuff going into the offseason into 2024.
Yeah, that's why I completely disagree with you that this game doesn't mean anything at all. I want to get away from that. Bowl game, to me, I think I've made a comment about, say if this was like with Pruitt or Butch and we kind of saw the writing on the wall, not at their trajectory this way, but it's here or starting to go here, like, and we're 7-5, 6-6, 8-4 or whatever, and it's not a New Year's Day bowl, then I still want to win. I want to win anytime I'm playing in something, anytime the Titans, the Grizzlies, the Vols, I'm in a better mood and I want my teams to win. There are times where I know that, hey, we probably don't have a great shot of winning this, but let's see how it goes. Whatever the case might be, I'll still be bummed if we lose. But this game does matter because of everything you just said. If he goes out and plays, and I also think that Iowa has a big part in this. If we were playing Ohio State, Oklahoma, Missouri is a perfect example, but we've already played them, so it's a bad example. But I'm talking about a team that is a good, solid football team offensively and defensively. Yeah. Then I'm like, okay, like this is a test, not because I know that he only plays against the defense, but like some of the stuff you're saying, like this offense is going to put pressure on our defense. They're going to score, which is in pressure for him to go tick for tack back and back. I feel like Iowa, and I agree with you. Like I hope he gets one right in the chops and he gets a big boy football hit and like, okay, I'm Gucci. And then, if he does have a really nice throw, but it gets tipped and picked and it's not his fault, but it's still on INT, or maybe he does have a guy on a big third down and he misses it. I'm with you. Let's see how he comes back and responds. And but I think it's Iowa, and I truly think our defense is going to play really, really well. And I think Tennessee can blow them out with Nico because of not that he has to do anything spectacular, Kyler, but and you're going to see the quick passes to the sideline that we saw with Joe. But what about when we do have the deep crossing dig, the deep dig, or the deep crosser, or the climb route, or the shot deep, and he hits one or two of those? You and I, don't let Joe make us forget what this team did 2 years ago. It is very much a domino effect. You hit one or two or three of those, and Iowa could be looking up being like, holy shit, this is 2013, 14, 15, whenever y'all body bagged them again. And I really believe that. That's why I'm like, this dynamic changes completely. I think the spread was Tennessee -7. I'm like, I'm all in. Because what happens if we score? Iowa can't score with us. They can't score with anyone. So
I agree. And
it matters. It matters because, like you said, if he goes and plays well, and everyone's like, my gosh, watch out next year, all that hype can only bring in more players and all that stuff. So I think it does matter.
I think it does matter because of what I said, but at the same time, it doesn't matter because the season's over, right? This is the best game of the season for him to get his first start. That's what I believe. The best possible game for this entire season for him to get the start is this game. Right? It would be bad. Like it would be very rocky if his first start is versus an SEC team in the middle of the season. It would be rocky if his first start is in the middle of the season and he has to like try and figure it out and finish out. Him having a month to prepare, getting ready for a team who can't score on offense, and in a bowl game that doesn't take us to an SEC championship, doesn't prevent us from going somewhere, doesn't alter, how you are in the standings, like maybe a first game of the year would in 2024. Like this game's better than any of the first games in 2024 for him to make his first start. Like that's the part where I'm like, it doesn't matter because it's the best game for him to play first. I don't think the season's over. I think this is a way to capitalize the season. When we talk about 2022, we talk about beating Alabama, beating Florida, being ranked number 1, and Orange Bowl victory over Clemson. So this still does matter. Like I still want to be able to say we whipped Iowa or we beat Iowa in the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl on New Year's Day. I mean, I do too. I'm just saying of the 13 games this year and the first game of 2024, so 14 total games, what is the best possible game for Nico to get his first
I'm not arguing that. I'm just arguing that it still matters. But I also think one point that you haven't brought up is I like that he has a month to prepare. I also like that he has an entire offseason to go back, learn from his mistakes, watch the film, be like, okay, yeah, like this does make sense. And then obviously confidence helps. So if he goes out and plays well and he's like, okay, that helps him settle in to being the not necessarily has to be the leader, but being like, okay, I'm Gucci. And he might already know he's Gucci. I'm just saying, depending on different athletes, sometimes it's nice to get in there. And I mean, I remember like going to Memphis, and you probably have something like this too. I was going to Memphis and I was like, yo, like these dudes are going to be like freak shows. Like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to hang. Like, you know, a little bit nervous. Like I had confidence in my ability, but I was like, when you don't know what college football is and you've just seen it on TV and then you go there, you're like, I don't know. And I got there and it was my first practice. I was like, dude, I'm totally fine. Not necessarily because I couldn't run as fast or jump as high or anything like that. But mentally, I was so far ahead of the game against any of the other freshmen. Yeah. But also I was like, physically, I'm fine. Like, and I was 180, 85 pounds in, but I was still like, I'm fine. And so, and I'm sure he already knows that because he has been around it for a whole season, but it still helps if you go out and ball out against Iowa.
No, definitely. Definitely still helps. I mean, this is just like the perfect opportunity for us, for Tennessee in the future, for Josh Heupel, for Nico. Like, it's just like, thank you. I'm like, I don't know what they told Joe, but maybe they're like, listen, bud, like, you just right off into the sunset there, bud. Like, you give us this. Nico's gonna play, okay? We don't need you anymore.
I don't care how it happened or how it came to this, but I am fired up, and I'm also fired up for these highlights.
Heck yeah.
There's a couple times, Kyler, where I straight up just went, wow, and I even drew the eye emoji. Those eyes where it's like I drew some of those on my notes. So let's start this off. Go ahead with Jordan Ross and
let's go. First thing I noticed at Jordan Ross is this buddy's gained weight, right? He's put on some LB since last year. Last year, very athletic, but like stringy, right? Kind of just tall, lanky. I think he's like 6'5", 220 last year.
I didn't, and we talked about it after the fact, but I've noticed that with some other people. Like I mentioned to you that I thought Gage Ginther had looked bigger, which is great to see with any of these dudes. Sorry,
there's a couple guys on here. Another thing I thought of you immediately, just swag level went through the roof. Wearing that number 5, like just swaggy dude, built for it. I am so excited for Jordan Ross. I mean, he looks the part. He fits the scheme. This guy built and runs past dudes, runs over dudes, comes with violence, fits with his hands. He's got pass rush moves. I mean, just watching him, I'm like, yeah, no shit, this guy's a 5-star. Like, this is the most obvious 5-star I've seen. He had a couple plays where I was just like, oh my gosh. Like when he would come up and hit dudes, like shocking. I didn't write down any of the stuff, but like I saw, you know, when I watch as a tackle, I'm like, all right, what's this guy's move, right? And I'll talk about it later with some of the other guys, but like, what's this guy's move? And he's got a swim. He's got a dip. I saw him working some swipes of hands. I mean, he's just an overall player. I mean, the guy's a freak athlete with a great body type that I'm just like, bro, put him on the other side of James Pierce. And let's go freaking eat.
Yeah.
Let's go eat.
Did you find a full season highlight, or did you have to watch game by game?
Game by game.
So, Kyler, I'm not going to sound as excited about him as I am some of these other ones. That doesn't mean that I don't think that he's the best player in this class.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a 5-star for a reason. He's the number 1 edge rusher in America.
Yep.
If you're telling me that the university that I root for got arguably the number 1 quarterback last year, they're going to give me a number 1 edge rusher this year.
I want everybody to shut up about Heupel's recruiting.
It's great to get good running backs and receivers and linebackers and whatever. But if you bring me the best quarterbacks and the best edge rushers, we're going to have a chance. Now, obviously, I love D tackles and I love some really good corners because of how important that is. But you're off to a well of a start when you get maybe arguably the best one in the nation last year as a quarterback and this year's edge rusher. The other thing is, too, I remember, I don't know how realistic it was, but the Elijah Russell rushing guy from Tucson, Arizona, who went to Arizona, decommitted, Tennessee was in on him for a little bit. And I was like, if Tennessee had somehow pulled in the number 1 and number 2 edge rushers, that would have been insanity. But I get it. He's from Arizona, and he's going to Oregon. Oregon's a very, very good football program, and he doesn't have to cross the country. So exactly. I get it. I don't think that that's a bad recruiting battle loss for Heupel. Like, let's put some common sense here.
I mean, they were almost in the playoffs this year. Like, it's not that's not a lackluster program.
No, and like I said, Oregon's much closer to Arizona than Tennessee is. So Jordan Ross, man, his get off is ridiculous with his size and length. Like you said, he's not just a finesse guy with that size and length. He is bulkier. He will hit you hard. He will be physical. He will finish physically. I love seeing when he dipped under, dude didn't have a chance. And no offense to this other team he was playing, but number 76, when they showed the back angle, it was one of the worst performances. The stance, the lineman was not open. He did not have his feet one here and one here. He was literally 2 here, and then he turns his whole back to try to get back there because he knows Jordan's so fast.
There's
Jordan's like, what is this idiot doing? Pushes him and comes back inside. So that was silly. But, just super nice dipping close, nice setup, out and back. Like I said, 76 had no chance. I have no idea what the coaches were doing to 76 there. Power and physicality. And then I went back because I couldn't find a ton of stuff from his senior year. But it was just going game by game. I went back to the first one of his junior year and fell in love with him again after watching the senior year stuff. His junior year, it's goal line. He is on the far left side.
Yeah.
He points it out
before the play. Before
the play. And then his ass as the backside edge guy he comes off physical, makes a pop, he already knows where it's going. He runs down the line of scrimmage. It's like a Disney movie vibe. Dude's trying to stick the ball out, and Jordan comes in, finishes with another guy. He gets up. He's like, I'm like, yes, I'll play with you, and you can play on my team 7 out of 7 days.
Yeah, 100%. I think that you put that on your film. It's like one of the first plays. It's like, this is the guy. And
because
it's a combination of everything.
Yes.
It's literally that one play is like a combination of effort, of smarts, of physicality, of
finish,
hustle, athleticism. Like it's everything in one.
Yeah. Yeah. And as big as he is and as fast as he is, I can see all the dips, swing moves, all that. But you show me that, I'm like, whatever he wants, get him here. So it's really, really cool to add him. And like I said, I don't want me to be excited about Jake or Braylon or some of these other ones we're going to talk about today. Jordan is the guy and the dude. And like you said, add him with JP, with Joshua Joseph, with Young King, Shadavian Bradley, and not Elijah, Eli.
Are you confusing Elijah and Caleb?
Caleb Herring.
There you go.
So you get 4 legit edge guys with that same size, speed, body type. Just let them off the leash. Okay.
Give me a nice third down package.
Yes. So I am very excited to hear about Bennett because
go ahead.
When he committed, you and I had just got a phone call about some comments that you made about a recruit, and you and I said, "Yo, this ain't worth it. We're not talking about recruits anymore." We'll wait till they commit.
Yeah.
We don't want to be a hindrance to staffers and people. So, but I remember watching his stuff, and I was like, this guy's film is awful. I understood why Tennessee gave him. I understood why Tennessee gave him an offer because he's 6'8", 330, and he moved decent. But his junior year film was terrible. Watching the little bit I watched this year, and I say a little bit because it was still game clips.
Yeah.
He was vastly improved.
He was.
But I want to hear what you have to say.
He was vastly improved. He has not completed yet. He has not completed his football journey yet. Let's say that. Like you said, Bennett is a massive, massive individual. He is head and shoulders and probably 50 pounds bigger than everyone else on the film. And that's how he plays. He just controls dudes once he gets his hands on them. He plays like he's bigger than everybody, and that makes sense. He's always been bigger than everybody. The one thing, obviously I'm watching and I'm like, all right, great. Like, you're big and you moved this dude out of the way. You're still moving him out of the way and higher than he is, right? His pad level's down here and you're still just pushing him along. There is just like some plays it's like no footwork, right? Like he's not even stepping with the right foot, but he grabs a hold of Buddy and throws him out the club. So it's like, I see the footwork that needs to be worked on. I see the pad level that needs to be worked on, but he's just so massive of an individual that you can kind of get away with that stuff. And I've seen guys that I thought were trash, that I thought couldn't do it, and they got all pro. Like, I really thought Orlando Brown was going to fall on his face, like, once he got to the next level, because he's so slow. He has no footwork. He can barely move. He doesn't adjust very well, but that dude is so damn big, no one can get around him. That is literally like his saving grace. Like, if he is 3 inches shorter and 30 pounds lighter, he doesn't make it in the NFL. With his athletic ability, if he's not 6'8" and not 330, he doesn't make it in the NFL.
It's funny you bring him up because I immediately thought of. Well, go ahead.
Yeah, he's just like the comp that I always use for big dudes who don't move well. That is Orlando Brown, and Orlando Brown's been all pro, been not all pro, been to the Pro Bowl like 4 or 5 times. Never been all pro. Let's not get it twisted here. That's a little different. It's a different category than the Pro Bowl. But as a former offensive line kind of coach and trainer, having a dude this big and nasty, and I watch a couple plays of him pulling, and I'm like, okay, like, he's kind of light on his feet. He can move a little bit for 330. Like, all right, well, let me bring him in. Let me get my hands on him. Let me teach him some footwork. And I think this guy can go somewhere. And I think that's the same thing. And I will say this. I know Tennessee fans are a little butthurt about Orlando Brown because he didn't come to Tennessee. He ended up going to Oklahoma. And the reasoning for that is because Buddy didn't have high enough test scores to get in at Tennessee. He got turned away because of it. And Oklahoma was able to give him a chance. So
were you in school when all that was happening or something? I didn't even know he was supposed to come here.
I was there. I met Orlando Brown when he was a high schooler and was coming out.
Were we like his favorite or something, or like were
he was committed and going to come here.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And he was not able to because of his test scores. It had nothing to do with the coaching staff, us losing him, any of that stuff. It was literally his test scores, and they could not admit him into the school. And then Oklahoma was able to make some stuff happen and get him in.
His test scores must have been horrendous.
Horrendous. Yeah. I remember when Coach Mo told me, he was like, damn it. He's like, we lost him. And I was like, why? I thought he was all gung-ho. Like, I had a full conversation with him about, like, I love Coach Mahoney. Like, he's going to get you right. Like, he put a lot of pressure on me, but I was able to step up and, like, I'll always be here to, like, help with anything. We're a close-knit unit, O-line room, all that kind of stuff. And, like, he was gung-ho. And then he was like, his test scores, man, he couldn't get in here.
That's wild. Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Learn something new every day. So I thought about Orlando and the conversations you and I have had. So not just even Orlando, but a guy like Trent Brown who's in the league and some of these different guys. It's funny if you said if you take away 3 inches and 30 pounds, and everyone's like, well, yeah, that's a lot. And it's like, that means the individual would still be 6'5", 300, which is plenty big enough to play college football or NFL football. But so when I watched him last year, like I said, I was like, dude, this film is hot garbage. I knew, I said, I get it. You can't teach 6'8", 300 pounds and who's wide as could be.
Mm-hmm.
And so I will give him a massive kudos and credit that it looks like he's improved drastically. So if he's improved drastically in 1 year in high school, then that's exciting. And it's just wild to say this, but in all the films that we've ever watched, it's like we wouldn't be surprised at all if Bennett was the one that made it to the league strictly because of that. You know what I mean? He could come in and redshirt a year and then start the next 2 years or 3 years and be a third or fourth round draft pick and end up playing for 10 years because size truly does matter at a certain level. And I think his feet are good enough so far. I thought his pulling was fine. And, there's plenty of guys his size that they're not going to ever have him pull. They're just going to let him be a tackle or whatever the case may be. But I thought his feet were good enough. He does have some nasty to him. I mean, I also didn't think he got too handsy, which was a good thing. I personally didn't think he got super handsy. Maybe that's because he was slow and they'd get away from him. But I didn't feel like when he got him, he just held him like he'd almost like hit him or whatever and then pancake him, which I'd rather see that than a potential hold.
Yeah.
But you've always said you said this on the last pod, like you give me someone who's big, who's got some pretty good feet and some nasty, and like we'll coach him up, and that's exactly what they're going to do with him. Yeah. And I'll give Bennett a lot of credit. I don't know how much last minute pressure he was getting from other schools, but he always was true to Tennessee. Mm-hmm. And, that's great to see. We do have to remember that just because a message board or a fan from Colorado or from Oklahoma or Texas or whatever is like, Bennett, come here. And he's like, hey, no, I'm all good. Like, yeah, that's cool to see, but we don't know if one of those schools called and been like, hey, what's Tennessee giving you? Okay, we can give you this. Come on a visit. You know what I mean? So I don't want to annul him as being the biggest true Vol for life because we don't know what other people are saying, but I do at least appreciating it to some degree, seeing it helps. I mean, it just helps us when he's on Twitter and he's like, no, I'm good. Like I'm staying home. But anyways, I'm excited to see what happens with him.
Yeah, I am too. I mean, he's one of the biggest guys we'll have on the team since Big Dan.
Yeah. These next 3, Caleb, Peyton, and Edwin.
Love them.
Wow.
Yeah. Let's jump into Caleb first.
Yep. Go ahead.
6'1", 180. I think that's like the perfect size for a corner. And dude, the footwork on his reactions is what I absolutely love. You're stopping for a comeback? Oh wait, no, that was a start and stop. Oh, I'm still with you, buddy. Like I'm still right on your hip. Someone's coming to the flat out of the backfield and I got to react to it and sticks his foot in the ground and goes. Just the start and the stop, his ability to his footwork, like that shit impressed me so much. And I don't even know anything about a DB's footwork and exactly how it's supposed to be. But man, like watching his hips just like stay open as he's running down the field and then being able to just put his foot in the ground and change direction. I was like, holy crap, this guy's athletic. he's physical in coverage too. Like he's not going to let a wide receiver run through him, right? Like you might see like the bigger wide receivers, say a DK Metcalf, get an upper hand on some of these corners. It's like Caleb being 6'1", 180, it's like big enough to kind of like, hey, if you're going to stick your hand out, I'm still armbarring you and pushing you towards the sideline. Like using the sideline as my other DB on this, my double coverage. And a strong tackler. And I use strong specifically because I very much felt like if he wasn't necessarily the perfect technique on a tackle, wasn't necessarily getting his head across, it was like guys are not getting away from him. If he gets a hold of you, if he gets there, you're not getting away. Like he's going to sling you down. I mean, that one where he broke into the flat, picked Buddy up off the ground and slammed him. It's just like, man, Caleb, like I am so excited for what he can bring to that DB room. And he is a true corner to me. I don't see it like some of these other guys that we watch. It's like, he could be a safety, he could be a nickel, maybe a corner. Like we're kind of jumping around like where he might. This is a true corner right here.
Kyler, I love KB. I love Caleb a lot. A true corner is exactly right.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't care if it's high school or not. The fact that he basically lines up and pressures your ass man to man. People, if you've never done it, you don't know how stressful and how difficult it is. Just think about it. I've always said on here, go outside. If you got kids, if you got a friend, if you got whoever, try to stay with them when they know where they're going and you don't know where they're going.
Yeah.
And he does it where it looks so easy, so effortless, so routine. He's got that dog about him because you can just tell by the way he acts. He's like, let's fucking go. Like I'm not worried about you beating me over top. Mm-hmm. I'm not worrying about you being more out physical than me. I'm just here. And you have to have that as a corner, especially where it's, if he does get beat, we all get beat, come right back and be like, you got lucky, whatever the case might be, like, let's fucking go. I'm going to get one back. And so he plays that way, but his feet, 2 plays that I was so impressed with is he ate that double move up like it was nothing. They tried to hit him. He was like, he opened. And he does a really good job of opening and keeping eyes on receiver, quarterback, whatever. He opens, he gets back. He kind of stops like, do I need to break on this? They tried to hit him with it. He opens back up and runs. He used the sideline perfectly. So that play was super impressive. I love the play that was like one of the first plays of one of the highlights because he didn't have a highlight film. It was games. He's in press coverage. They tried to run him out. He runs maybe 5 yards. I don't know if he had his head in the back of the field, if someone's yelling, run, and he hears it. He turns back around and makes a stick. And I think it might have been a tackle for a loss right at the line of scrimmage. And I'm like, you have a corner that's just not going to take the easy way out, and you all think I might be joking.
Yeah.
There's plenty of corners that are even maybe pretty good, and the last thing they want to do is tackle. And the fact that he had the opportunity that he could have kept running a few more steps, like, oh, I'm in man, like I didn't know what was up. No, he turned around, stuck his freaking face in there, and made the tackle. I'm like, he's a ball player.
People just saw Chargers corners do that a week and a half ago. Like they just gave up. They just started running down the sideline. Like didn't want to tackle anybody coming on a run.
You see it a good amount in the NFL, and I don't know if it's just business decisions. Like they're not scared to not make a tackle, but they just don't. They're like, yo, if we're losing or our season's over, like I don't need to get an extra contact. I don't need an extra, physicality on this body. But when I saw that, I was like, that just speaks so much to him. Is like, and he played offense. He played some punt return. So he's just a footballer. He wants to win. He wants to compete. But the fact that he is nasty at a very premium position is it's super, super impressive. Super impressive. I think the other one that was crazy impressive, and it was really good film because it was the side of the actual camera, But he opens up, he's running, quarterback's rolling out, he's got his receiver here, he's stuck to him. Like I always say, hip pocket. He's in his hip pocket. He shoves the receiver out of bounds, which is such a smart and veteran move. It's such a smart and veteran move because then if he catches it out of bounds, it's incomplete. If he comes back in and doesn't reset himself, then it's illegal touching. He gets him out of bounds. The quarterback panics. He throws it right to Caleb. Caleb picks it and house calls it. I'm like, as a freaking high schooler doing shit like that, like
it was like either coming across the field in a crossing route or like a
comeback.
Corner.
No, it was a comeback. The receiver was going to work up and then come back.
Okay. And then he was just staying with them as the quarterback's rolling out right in front of his face. And then he's just like, screw you. Just pushes him out the sideline and waits there and throws it right to him.
I'm telling you, the sideline is your best friend as a corner and as a safety when you come over. He's, like I said, he's so smooth. He's in the hip pocket. I've already said he couldn't have played the double move any better. He shoots his gun. He's physical. There was another one that was so routine. He's playing press, so he realizes it's a run. He engages immediately, sheds the guy, and that was the one he made the TFL. And it's like, okay, if this guy can, if he's good enough, if Ricky's good enough, if Jordan's good enough, if Christian Harrison's good enough, if Christian Conyers good enough, any of those dudes are good enough to play man and play press man, Tim Banks and Coach Heupel and that defensive staff as a whole, I mean, they are it opens the door for them to do so much more.
Talk about blitzing. Tim Banks is going to be a kid in a candy store sending them freaking man blitzes.
I mean, if you can lock somebody up like this and then still come off and make tackles if you need, he's awesome. He's awesome. And I'm not going to be surprised if we see him starting playing this as a freshman and starting as a true sophomore. He's going to be cold-blooded.
Yeah, we got some depth issues in that DB room. So
yeah. All right, Peyton Lewis, another guy that I absolutely love.
Absolutely love Peyton. It's been a while since I've seen a film with so many broken tackles. Yeah. I mean, this man, there is no such thing as an arm tackle in Peyton Lewis's universe. I can't even put it into words how many tackles he breaks. It's insane. Everyone should go and watch. I absolutely love that his offense does a little bit of both when running the ball. They do inside runs a lot. They do counters and powers up inside in the middle of the box. And Peyton is very good at finding those holes. Counter power is sometimes difficult because guys will go too fast, right? Or go too slow. You have to time it up with your pullers and with your down blocks. Everyone's crossing, right? Down blocks going this way, pullers coming back around. So you really have to wait for the X, and then the gap starts to widen and open up, and you got to hit it. He's great at it. He is great at it. There's also pitches. There's also a lot of these outside runs where it's like, hey, we're going to get two pullers in front of you and let you go outside and use your speed. He is so good at making his pullers right in their blocks. He slows down. He gives a little patience. Maybe puts a hand on their back. He's just like, all right, you make this block for me. And then his 0 to 60 of I'm taking off now. See ya. Bye. No one touches him. He's got speed for days. And if there's ever a guy in a running, this is exactly what I want in a running back, is a guy who understands where the hole's going to be and is a guy who can make me right as a blocker. There are so many guys I've played with, high school and college, even a couple dudes on practice squad in the NFL, that they are, it's an A-gap run, A-gap run, A-gap run, A-gap run, and they don't think, hey, my guard is trying to block this 330 defensive tackle, and this is where his head's at, and the defensive tackle can see me right now. If I just hug his left hip instead of his right, he'll overreact, and I'll be able to make him find that hole. Some running backs understand it, some don't. And he understands it. He really, really does. He can make the guys in front of him make their blocks, which is what you want.
So, Caleb, Beasley, Peyton Lewis, and Edwin Spillman all were one of the plays where I was like, whoa. So Peyton really got me interested. So I was like, let me see how this guy ranks up as a running back, because I'm watching and I was like, I don't know how he's not a 5-star or who's better than this. And so I found out there's no 5-stars on, I think I was looking at 24/7. There's no 5-star running backs this year. So there's only there's 25 4-stars. I think he's like 16th, 17th. I don't know, maybe better than that. I forget. I went and watched the number one guy. And it's like Taylor Tatum. I think he's from Texas, and he's committed to maybe Oklahoma. And I watched, and I felt like I was watching Peyton Lewis. The only difference is I'm assuming the competition, one's playing in Texas, one's playing in Virginia. So I'm like, okay, maybe, there's the competition's going to be much different there. But their play style, the big plays they made, how they did it with it, they looked very, very similar. And I was like, okay, that's what I thought. It was almost like some reassurance, like this guy's an absolute problem freak show. And I have one thing on here, Kyler, that he's a finisher. And you maybe hear finisher more as like a defensive lineman, like a defensive lineman or a offensive lineman or what. No, he's a finisher because he finishes run. There was 4 to 6 times when I paused it and I said, no way he scores. No way he scores. And he scores. Yeah. And I'm like, holy shit, man.
Yeah.
I was like, Peyton, are you serious, bro?
It's incredible.
And he's not – it's almost like Dylan Sampson and Cam Seldon like had a baby, because he's got Dylan Sampson speed and cuts.
6'1", 205.
He's got Cam Seldon size and maybe a little bit of that power. And I was so happy that you brought it up, whether he's playing at quarterback and they're doing the Wildcat, whether they run a counter, a power, an off tackle, a toss. He's doing tons of stuff. There's I formation. Everyone knows who's the main man, what they have to do, and they can't stop him. And it's wild to me how he gets inside he's in that traffic and he's in that mess and he sidesteps and makes a guy miss. Then another guy tackles and he breaks it off. And then I was so impressed. And so, what I have here, wow, finisher, patient, power, speed, great cuts.
Yep.
Awesome balance and break tackle for a guy that you would think is, 6'1", 180, 190, maybe 200. It's like, that's probably more of just an average balance speed guy. And it's like, no, he's got power. Whether it's between the tackles, outside, different types of runs, his feet and his vision, which I kind of put that vision kind of with what you're talking about. Like he gets it. He just gets it. Like he knows how to set blocks up. He knows how to play off his guys.
Yep.
I saw one, and I forget what highlight it was, or I don't know if it was a senior year or whatever it was that I found, or if it was just one of the games. But there was a hit that some linebacker put on him. It was the 41-second mark. And this middle linebacker ran the line of scrimmage and blasted Peyton. And Peyton took it like a champ and didn't even basically stop running. That linebacker didn't get up. At the end of the play, you could see Peyton's running and that linebacker sitting there. And he's the one that ran the line of scrimmage and had the free kill shot at Peyton. Yeah. It's like some dudes that we've played football with where they could be big, but if you hit them, like they're going down, like you can hit them, they're going. And then there's some other ones that they could have been really big or small or whatever. It's like we used to joke, matter of fact, at Memphis, one of our smaller running backs would just be like, he kind of had some little man syndrome, but he was a pretty good runner and he ran hard. And there was plenty of guys on the team that were bigger than him. And if you hit him and the other guys the same, they were going down. He wasn't. And he'd always joke. And I started joking, like, big body weight. I mean, he was like 175 pounds. He's like, I got big body weight. And
it's dense. It's dense, 175 pounds.
Yeah, it's just weird. It's like, I've seen guys that go down at 240, and not to say that they don't run tough or anything, but they're going down at that shot, and he ate that shot like it was nothing and kept going. I was so impressed. He has it all. He really whether it's the patience, whether he needs to juke a couple dudes, whether he needs to break a tackle, whether he needs to set somebody up one cut and house call it. Peyton Lewis is a freak. He's a stud.
The couple things I guess I would say, we always look for in running backs is like the hands, right? What's he getting in the flat, right? Catching a ball, all that kind of stuff, and then the pass pro, which I don't think we got to see a lot of. And I think that's kind of because of what you mentioned, like Peyton is his team. Like everyone knows who the ball's going to. And they're like, all right, we're running the ball. We're putting him in Wildcat. We're doing whatever we got to do. So I'm excited, very excited for Peyton.
If you remember his last year's film, he did have some where he was catching and swinging. I think he had a wheel route out of the backfield that he caught, so he can do it. This was another guy that I liked his junior film, so I didn't hate it like Bennett's, but I liked Peyton's junior year film, but I love his senior year film. So
yeah, I agree. He's definitely a guy who got better.
Yes,
over the year. All right, Edwin, I want you to start this one off. I want to hear what you got to say. The linebacker,
dude. First play with Edwin. He murdered. He was shot not out of a gun, not out of a cannon. He was shot he was a missile coming from a freaking plane.
Yeah.
The speed that he got there, I was like, what did I just watch? Replay. I was like, holy shit, replay. I'm like, am I seeing this? Is that the quarterback? Did he get the running back? Like what? So
there's a couple plays where I went, oh.
Yes. He is
lost your words.
we've seen some really good, in my opinion, high school highlight linebacker films. Where I'm like, this guy's a good player. Like, really, how does that translate to the next level? Like, I don't know. Like, we like Jeremiah T-Lander, and we've seen that he's already been able to translate it some as a freshman. I'm not going to say T-Lander came out and set the world on fire, because that necessarily wasn't the case. But as a true freshman, when he was in there, I knew he was giving all effort, and he was going to be physical, taking on blocks. I'm like, okay, sure. Love to see that. Yep. But there's other guys that the other two linebackers in T-Lander's group I liked, whether it was Arian Carter and I think a Jalen Smith, I think. Mm-hmm. And so I liked them. I liked those films a lot. But I watch Edwin, and I don't know if it's product of the moment or what. I just feel like he plays at a different speed and violence than maybe those guys.
Yes.
And so it's like, is this what we've been missing? And I tried to look up his 40 time, because size, he's a fine size. He's 6'2", 215. No big deal. He's going to get bigger.
I honestly think he might be a little heavier than that. Like, just looking at him, he looks – because I think he was listed as that his junior year too. And I'm like, he's thicker than he was his junior year. I'm hoping he's more like 230.
I didn't want to watch Catholic get beat. And I only went to one game this year, and Catholic had a great, great year for what we expected. Mm-hmm. I should have gone down to watch Catholic play Lipscomb, just for, even if I just stopped by for 15 minutes to see Caleb and to see Edwin in person, like size-wise and stuff. Mm-hmm. I bring up, I think his size is fine. I wanted to look up his 40 because he might be a 4'6" guy that play fast, but then again, he's playing in the state of Tennessee. So I'm like, is this guy a legit 4'4", 4'5" guy? I don't know, because he plays fast, which is really truly all that matters.
Yeah,
I'm thinking that way, because the one thing I need to see out of Tennessee is more back end speed at corner, at safety, and at linebacker. Aaron Beasley, we love Aaron Beasley. Not the fastest guy by any stretch of imagination. He played admirably because he played with his other intelligence, his angles, his natural football instincts. We all know that Elijah Herring had a rough go of it this year.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see how that changes. But an Arian Carter and an Edwin Spillman in a year or two, natural abilities, they should be absolute menaces on defense because they both play fast and physical, violent. But they're also there's something about a guy at a linebacker, especially in high school, and if he's big enough and strong and fast enough in college, he can get away with it. It's just like this crazy guy. He's going to take on a block. He's going to make tackles. But we know that football is transitioning into a space game, you have to be able to run. You have to be in the right spot. So you just can't have, the guy off the replacements who's one of my favorite actors is like, that's great and stuff. But you have to have someone that can do it at all facets. And Edwin does it, whether it's running the line of scrimmage, whether it's blitzing, pass coverage, chasing a guy sideline to sideline, filling the gap. When he gets there, he brings a pissed off attitude. He literally does it all. I mean, he even had a really nice move. I know it wasn't necessarily a blitz. He was going to block a punt, but he did an Olay on somebody that was like a pass rush move. I mean, Kyler, Edwin's a damn pit bull, and I just hope that his physical traits will translate to SEC ball so that the player that we see on that film can be that in SEC. Does that make sense?
Yes, that totally makes sense. I agree completely with everything you said. Like the way that he plays with violence, I saw a few plays of a lineman coming up to try and block him and Edwin literally sticking his hands in that dude's chest. Yeah. Like legit exactly what you teach as a linebacker coach of like extending the offensive lineman away from you and shedding him. He did like perfect. Like you're supposed to do it. Then you got him when he gets the opportunity, he is laying you out. Like he wants to hit you as hard as he possibly can. I love that out of linebackers. And man, his timing on stuff, his timing on the blitzes, you know how many time blitzes we do with our linebackers. He's already doing it in high school. And his timing on his pursuit. There are plays where it's an outside toss, outside run, whatever. He's got to work through traffic and get to that running back, and he makes a tackle for loss without being touched. He gets through the traffic of, 6-7 blockers, the 6 or 7 guys they're blocking, and makes a tackle, not touched. Like, that is not an easy thing to do. And his ability to, just flow, go. Flow, go. Like, he picks his points, I thought was just so impressive out of him. So it's like block shedding, I see. Violence when he gets to the ball, I see. His read and react, I see. The only thing that I was wanting more of is I want to see him in coverage. I want to see him more, covering guys more. Because every run, I was like, I ain't worried about nothing with Edwin. I am excited about him getting out in the field. When you say these 3 guys right here, Caleb, Peyton, and Edwin, they're the most exciting film, and they're the ones where I'm throw them in. Maybe get some playing time out of these guys. Those are heck yeah, I'd love to see him out there.
Wait, what do you mean?
I'm all with you. And
what do you mean? What do you mean? See him out there? They can't play against Iowa. You're talking about early next year?
Yes, I'm talking about being freshmen and playing. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And, he's one guy who will just lay out for a tackle. And you don't always see that kind of I don't care. I'm going to make the tackle out of guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So to a certain extent, I think linebacker is probably one of the easiest positions to play. And I know I only played it at a high school level. Mm-hmm. But it's if you just give effort and be physical, that's 75% of the battle. Yes, you still have to have your eyes in the right spot if you got to back out of the backfield or if you have a tight end, and you need to be able to run, decently well. But if you just give that effort, be somewhat instinctual, you can play a linebacker. And I say all that to say there were times this year that I was downright embarrassed that we didn't have another linebacker. And I know we had injuries and stuff like that, and I'm not trying to beat him up too much, but there were some plays this year that we talked about where Elijah's not even touching someone and no one's even touching him. So just to see someone that plays linebacker the way it's supposed to be played, by just hair on fire and go and blast people. And like I said, if his physical traits are good enough to translate to the SEC ball, then he's going to play exactly like the film that we just saw. I just, that's a real thing. That's a real thing. And so I love him. I can't imagine going up against a defense where you got Caleb Beasley and Edwin Spillman on the same side. Mm-hmm. And Jordan has it. Jordan Ross has it because he's just a freak. He's a legitimate alien. He's a 5-star. Yeah. But Caleb and Edwin also have that Madden glitch that I talk about, where if they need to close on someone, whether it's a tackle or for Caleb in coverage, that it looks like they just Madden zoomed, like teleported to you. They close really quick. And I remember thinking that last year. I think it was about maybe Arian and Jalen, but when they get you kind of in that area, they're closing quick. So, I love Edwin. Love him.
Yeah, I do too. Very excited about Edwin. Love that he's a Nashville guy. Tennessee, keeping it in the state. So, all right, Kellen Lindstrom. So you watched this film about a week ago. You thought maybe we'd do it on that one, so we're doing it on this one. One thing I wrote down about Kellen, I said, wreaking havoc. Buddy is trying to wreak havoc wherever he goes. Sneaky athletic, I guess I would say. And his strength and hands when he is fighting through blocks is very noticeable. Saw a couple hump moves, the old Reggie White, hump moves. I saw just some stabs, some literally just fighting through dudes' outside shoulders to get to the quarterback. He works the edge well. He is fast enough to chase down from the backside. Mm-hmm. I like the violence that he brings when he does have that opportunity. He's going to lay you out if he gets the chance. And I think he plays smart too. I think he when I look at him, as I'm watching, I see these plays of which, he's headed upfield on the right tackle. And as he's going upfield, he feels the presence of the tackle, not quite coming into him. He notices a possible handoff in the backfield and just spins immediately and comes back into the play. It's those kinds of things are so cerebral, just understanding the game of football, that I think Kellen has, that he's just oh, wait, no, this makes sense. It's not him going, oh, now's the time to spin when I have this look at this thing that's happened at this moment. No, it's literally just what's the best way for me to get there now that I've seen it with my own eyes? I'm spinning. And it's just natural to him. Yeah. So when I see that kind of stuff out of a 6'5", 240 defensive end that loves violence, I really, really like it. So I'm excited about Kellen for sure.
Yeah, I think Kellen's a really good prospect. Physical, violent, monster, finishes. Those are the four things that I see right off the top. Uses his length well. I love his speed for his size. Took on blocks really well. Made the tackle. Real nice inside step. Getting skinny, which I don't know if you remember hearing that much. But definitely when I was blitzing or whether I was on special teams and you got to they teach you get skinny, turn that body, try to get through quick. And I thought he did that well, which can be difficult for a guy who's 6'5" and 250. He's leaner, so getting skinny is maybe not that bad, but he's still just a big human. I didn't think he was bad getting to his second rush. I'd still like it to see the slightly faster transition. And that's probably just because he's maybe not as physically gifted as some of the other people that we've talked about, but there's still plenty there. Super plenty there. He's definitely not a project. I don't think you see him super early, but if Kellen comes in, works hard, puts the time in a year, 2, 3 years, we're going to look like Kellen's a super, super nice player for Tennessee. I just don't know. He's not a project at all. He's just come in, work, get get custom, acclimated to college football. You got some really, really good guys in front of you at the D line and edge position.
Yep.
And listen, if he stays and works, I think he has really, really good potential. Like I said, it's just college football now. Some of these dudes, if they don't play in the first year or two, they're gone. And that's fine too. I mean, you got to do what's best for you. I just really like Kellen, and I just think there's a lot of good potential. I just know what he has in front of him, whether it's a Jordan Ross coming in the same class as him or the other dudes. But then again, as a D line and as an edge, they rotate a lot. So he still has that opportunity. But you can't teach 6'5" and 250, and he's physical, and I like him. I think he's a very, very good prospect.
I do too. I think he's athletic enough to get to a higher play of football. Like, there are certain guys that it's like, man, I don't know how much more you can get out of your ability.
God-given ability.
Exactly. It's just there is a plateau.
Yeah, there is a ceiling.
There is a ceiling.
Yeah.
Okay. Jordan Burns. So, linebacker. Jordan, I love his closing speed. I think he can move through blocks very well. You just mentioned with Kellen, like getting skinny. I think Jordan does a good job at that as well. Just like getting skinny between blocks.
Getting through the traffic.
Exactly. I felt like I felt like he was strong, and kind of what confirmed that to me was his offensive tape. When I saw him like stiff arming dudes, I'm like, yeah, but he's strong. Like, he pushes through people. I think a good, very good tackler in the open space. I think he's fast. He's got some speed to him at a linebacker position. And he's the same way as some of these guys that we've talked about, Edwin and Kellen. Like, he wants to hit you.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to be physical and get up in that line and make those tackles. So Jordan is one of those guys that's like, yeah, like, okay, he is a 3. Well, wait, is he a 4 or 3?
I think it's both. I think depending on one, but I'm watching his film again right now, but I will gladly pull up and see. So
yeah, because I was kind of watching it as I was talking too. He feels like a good quality 3 to me. Like, when I watch this, nothing necessarily blows my mind in a freak sense like it does with Jordan Ross. But man, do I see effort. Man, do I see physicality. Man, do I see a guy who really loves to play the game. Yes. So Jordan Burns, good on my book. 6'1.5", 220. I'm hoping that's maybe a little closer to 230, 235. Like, I would like it there. Now, I think it always depends what he's going to be doing. Hey, do I need you to thin out to cover a few more guys out of the backfield? Maybe, right? I don't want you to get too heavy, get too slow. So we'll see. But I like Jordan. I think he's a quality linebacker to pick up.
I like Jordan a lot too. So he's a 3-star on 24/7, but 24/7 Sports Composite is a 4. So I was right. I thought that I remembered that.
Okay.
That it was a 3/4-star. And I meant to say this when we we're talking about Edwin. I didn't do this like I was going to do with Peyton, but I was going to go watch some of the guys in linebacker that were ahead of Edwin. This Jordan is, so I'm not around him. I'm not a coach. I'm not one of his players, so I don't know for sure. But this is another time where I'm watching a film and I see him call out the play twice before it happens. And that's only in a highlight, or like in the first little bit of a highlight film. So I'm not watching, but when I see him pointed out in both times and it's the right play and he runs it down because it's a run opposite of him and he runs, so he's physical, he fills holes well. He does have some of that violence to him. He's a good ball player. I do like the fact that he's playing both ways. If you're going to be good enough and a dog enough in high school, like let's see it both ways. So I was happy to see that. He's got some nice swag and moxie about him to him. He's fast enough. Does he maybe pop off or get there like an Edwin? No, not quite, but that doesn't mean that he can't be just as good or even better.
Yeah.
And one thing that I was kind of mentioning, with an Edwin or whoever the case may be. So at linebacker, D-line, you got to have some smarts, but it's like, let it go. Like, let it rip. Go after the quarterback. Even if you're a dummy, they can put you in on third down and say, go rush the quarterback. At corner, you need to have some intelligence to you, but if you're good enough, they can be like, hey, just this guy's a freak. Like, who cares if he tackles? Who cares if he's even that smart? Just tell him to go cover that guy one-on-one. He'll do it. Receiver, a little bit of that, but with a linebacker, you do have to be instinctual. You know what I'm saying? And I meant that it was an easier position. Physically it's not an easy position, but if you are given that effort and willing, like in defense in basketball, like you can be pretty good at defense if you just give effort. But at linebacker, if you have some of that cerebral, the play's coming, you can help coach up your other guys, be that leader, then you can find a place, even if guys are more physically gifted. And he's a guy with the other linebackers we got, with Edwin that we got. How does his game translate to the SEC speed? You played it, so did you watch him and think that he's fast enough and quick enough to do it? I mean, it's not necessarily he's fast.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's like popping off, and if there's a guy that he's got to chase down, some 5-star from Texas when we're playing the Longhorns or Oklahoma and he's in the open field, maybe he's more of a box linebacker. Maybe he's more that Aaron Beasley or, true box guy compared to one of the outsides. But I do feel like our linebackers, they're kind of interchangeable, like meaning what we do on defense at Tennessee.
Yeah, exactly. And, I think the fact that you watch Edwin and then you watch Jordan and it's kind of like, well, Edwin's obviously faster than he is. Like you see him just blur across the screen in Edwin's tape. So I think that has to do with it a little bit. I think Jordan is fast enough. I don't think he's slow by any means. I'm just
okay.
Hey, he's fast and he can get there. Now, am I going to say he's really fast? No. Am I going to say he's super fast? No. But he's a fast individual. I think he can make it there. He probably doesn't. He will have to take better angles than Edwin does. We'll say that.
And it might just be a product of what I've seen. Because I'm trying to think of the highlight films that we watched last year, and I thought all those guys played with good speed, and it really might just be what I was seeing this year with Aaron Beasley and Elijah Herring at some point. And maybe that's why I'm just triggered. But I like Jordan a lot, and I think that he's another guy like Kellen. Come in, work hard, do what you're supposed to do. You're going to have some guys in front of you, but we've seen they'll rotate. And if you know what you're doing and in the right position, it doesn't matter if you're not as fast or as physically gifted as the other ones. All right, let's go to Cole.
All right, Cole, tight end in this class. Tight ends are exciting because this is not like previous years. This is not even when I played. Tight ends are used in the Heupel offense, so they're a little bit more exciting to watch. I like Cole a lot. 6'5", 220. Obviously, let's get a little more weight on him so he can block guys. It doesn't matter if you care enough in your blocking when the guy weighs 30 pounds more than you. So sometimes you just got to put on weight for it. Because he had some blocking stuff in there, which I thought was good. But, I didn't see a lot of, hey, I'm out wide and I need to block for another guy who has the ball, which is what he's going to be doing with us. So blocking in space. But Cole can high point that football. He is a hand catcher. He does not catch with his body. He always catches with his hands. Multiple plays of him jumping over buddies. He is the ultimate goal line threat for his team in high school. And I see routes and I see yards after the catch of him outrunning safeties. And I'm like, okay, didn't expect this out of you, bud. Like, for sure thought you catch the seam and somebody catches you because you're 6'5", 220 big tight end, but he's able to outrun them. So it was like surprisingly fast, Cole was. And then I just, I see him high point. I see him run all the routes that he needs to run. I see his ability to find the ball in the air, kind of change his body to catch some. I like Cole a lot. I want to see progression in his blocking, but as a receiving tight end, he fits the bill.
Do you feel like tight end can be a little bit like a O-line? It's like, hey, if you're big enough and you're willing, we can teach you to block.
A little bit, because they do not necessarily take the blocking of tight ends as seriously as one should.
Hopefully you just have a little bit of that piss and vinegar in you, and then it's like, then you can really be taught, as long as you're willing to be a, willing blocker. And like you said, you have to do it with Heupel. I mean, we saw it with Princeton, with Jacob, with Callie, with all those dudes. I mean, you're an H-back and you're leading up the A-gap, or you're pulling, or you're blocking on the edge, so it has to be something that's done. Cole's a nice little late ad for sure. I mean, we're kind of low in that tight end depth. We lost Jonathan Eccles to Coach Golish down there in South Florida. So to get him late and bring him in with an Ethan Davis and some of those other guys that we still have, that, like, there was the one guy, I don't know if it's Charlie Browder or another guy that came in that was a transfer and he got injured. He's a big, tall dude. So we just needed some bodies there. But the fact, like you said, hands catcher, thank you. Like, I don't want it to look – there was a couple times over – I'm not going to say who – but there's a couple times over the past 2 years where we'd go to the tight end and it would look super smooth and nice. And there's other times it looked like we might have been fighting the ball a little bit and it made me a little nervous. But, yeah, speed, be that threat that for a pop pass. You've seen Heupel when we want to go fast that our tight end's going to be in the slot and he's going to have to beat someone on a slant or a dig or whatever the case may be. So, yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy with Cole, big boy, good athlete. So bring him on in. Like,
Exactly. I think it's just always now tight end is such a wrinkle in the offense. It's like, oh, wow. We've been concentrating on the Mike Matthews and the Staleys, but not necessarily the tight end. So
yeah,
I'm excited. I'm excited for Cole. I think he's got a very good potential. Very good potential. All right, next up, Carson Gentle. Now, Carson, I can probably guess that someone is watching this that will get it back to you because you're a small town kid, and usually this kind of stuff gets back to the small town kids. You are like me in a way. There is a certain threshold that you cannot pass of athleticism. And it doesn't matter how much work you put in. It doesn't matter how many cone drills and ladders and footwork things that you work on. There is a point that it's not getting any quicker. It's not getting any faster. Your boy at his most training, the best shape he could be in, the fastest he's, tried to do ran a 5.3. So there is just stopping points for guys like us. Okay. I'm trying to tell you because I've been there. If you're going to win, if you're going to progress, you need to do it with smarts and technique. That's how I got on the field. That's how I really had success, is I got guys that are more athletic than I am rushing against me. What am I going to do? I'm going to have good technique. I'm going to keep my shoulders square so they never think, oh, he turned his shoulders. I can do a spin move inside. Oh, he turned his shoulders. He shortened the edge. No, I'm going to keep it square the entire time. Am I going to give him both my hands? No, because when I give them both my hands, they swat them both away. I have nothing left to protect myself with. So what am I going to do? I'm going to give them one. I'm going to shoot a little fake jab at them, make them swing their arms at that one, and then grab a hold of them. I'm going to be smarter, and I'm going to play with better technique. That's how I'm going to win. Carson, this is not a knock at you. This is not, hey, you're not an athlete. You're still an athlete. But we just watched Jordan Ross play defensive end. We just watched Edwin Spillman play linebacker. We just watched Kellen Lindstrom play defensive end. These are all positions you played over the past 2 years. Would you say those guys are more athletic than you? Because they are, and they're on your team now. And they're playing positions that you might play. So how are you going to beat them out? How are you going to win in those positions? You're playing linebacker this year. I thought you were a D lineman. You played D end last year. I'm not sure where you might play on defense. But how are we going to beat other guys out that are coming in that might be more athletic than you? It's going to have to be with your smarts and your technique. And that's just what it is. I like Carson. I like his effort. I like the fact that he brings the heat when he comes. I like the fact that he's strong. I mean, stronger than everybody else out in the field. He's throwing dudes around. He's throwing offensive linemen around when he's getting off blocks. I like all that. But like I said, there's a plateau to the athletic ability. And we need to do other things to try and make up the difference with other freaks that are on the team that you're going to be playing against. Because you're going to have better technique and smarts of the offensive lineman you go against. Like you're going to have to have better hand placement than those offensive linemen if you want to win. That's just plain and simple.
Yeah. So I think that was a great way to start it. I watched his film last year, and I thought it was. I mean, he's a really, really good high school player, really good. And as we mentioned, I'm assuming based on just the way he plays, and he does look like he's gotten bigger, he is going to always work extremely hard. Mm-hmm. He seems like he's going to be in the weight room. He's going to be doing those cone drills, doing all that stuff to get his, which he obviously, you're saying he still needs to push every limitation he can, work as hard as he can.
Yep.
But I then, besides watching this film, I watched the one playoff game or the one state championship game I did want to see was Baylor and McCallie, and I was lucky enough to get home and watch it. And they played him at linebacker a lot. And I know he's not going to be playing linebacker at Tennessee because he's slow. Like he's slow. I mean, at least getting started, his first step is pretty brutal. But then when he got the train rolling, like he could close decently well on mm-hmm. the quarterback for Baylor on the state championship game. And
but he's been playing D line.
What's that?
He's been playing D line. Now they have him at linebacker all of a sudden.
Yeah, and kudos to him. I mean, take it as a compliment that your coaches are like, "Hey, you need to play D line." I mean, linebacker.
I'm not expecting a D lineman to just have like a great first step.
Yeah, right. And so I thought it was impressive. I mean, he's a ball player. I mean, they put him at tight end. He rolls out. I was very impressed with that catch when I watched it on the highlight film. But really, when I saw it on TV, I mean, he went up, made a really nice catch. So he's an athlete in the sense of he's a good football player and mm-hmm. stuff like that. But we're just talking about his foot speed and maybe agility and his quick twitchness.
Yeah.
But the thing that like I said, I don't know Carson, but I'm assuming he's going to be an incredibly good teammate. He's going to work extremely hard. He's going to piss a lot of people off at practice, and don't care about that. It's tough to do that as a freshman because they're older or whatever. And I'm not saying going out there and acting like a dumbass and get someone hurt and going low. Like if an older guy's like, hey, like, don't do this, don't do that, and they mean well by it, then okay, take that. But there's going to be a lot of people that you're going to piss off, and if they get pissed off at you and they can't get over the fact that you're a try hard or someone that goes hard at practice, like take that as a compliment, because honestly, those people, you shouldn't care about their opinion. And you already told them about how you went about it. I mean, I went to Memphis, and in no way was I going to ever be dirty or anything like that, but I definitely was going to play physical. And I remember running down on scout team kickoff, and you couldn't tackle the dude, which was not ideal for your boy, because I needed to show them that, hey, I can get off a tackle in open field. But I get it. They don't want someone to get hurt. But what I did is, they get they're like, hey, here's this freaking chump over here. Let's get him on scout team, get his little beanie on and put him as the wedge breaker. And I'm not going to lie. Like, I was like, part of me was like, all right, let's fucking go. But then I'm also like, Reed, you better you better bring your big boy pants, because our wedge was a backup tight end and one of our backup linebackers. And I can promise you they were a lot bigger than me, and they were double teaming me. But I also remember when I go down and just gave it, so they both tried to converge in, and I aimed right for their meeting spot. And I went through there and blasted and got through them. Our tight ends coach was our special teams coordinator, and he lost his mind at them. Like, how are you letting this guy?
I love it.
Yeah. And so, but then I remember one of our best players on the team. He's another freshman, but he played as a freshman as a running back. And he came up to me, and I've probably told this before, because it's one of my favorite, thing that if I can ever brag on myself, but he was just like, why you go so hard, Bake? Like, why you go so hard? And so he respected it. He didn't come at me and was like, hey, chill out. You're acting like he respected. So I appreciate that about Jarrell. But, Carson, he's a good football player. He's physical. But like Kyler says, use your physical strength, use those abilities that you do have, be smart, be a tactician, go work hard every day. And I truly feel like Carson can get on the field in a year or two, a couple of years. And even if it is, he's just, he puts on weight and he maxes his size as well, like that frame that he has, and they put him in and he's playing at a D tackle position or whatever. Like, I mean, I think he can play there. I think he can play. Yeah. Now, is he ever going to be a starter? I don't know about that, but Caleb Tremblay was probably a better athlete. He wasn't as big as Carson, but he's probably a better athlete. But he played
That's a perfect example.
But he played a good amount of ball for Tennessee and was pretty darn good. So it's like Carson just put that time and effort in. And like I said, I have no reason to think that he's not going to go and be an extremely hard worker, push people, and it's going to be hard at some point for the coach to be like, well, unless he gets there and he just can't keep up physically or maybe mentally or whatever, but I don't see that happening. At some point, the coach is going to be like, damn, like we maybe can't pull him off the field even though he's not as physically gifted, because he is just causing chaos on the inside. I don't know. I think that's the best case scenario for him if he gets to that point.
Exactly. I mean, you can show out on scout team or any reps you get in practice. I mean, any D lineman can get in there and stab Sprags in his chest and push him back and show something.
Yeah.
You can do that with just technique. You don't have to be the fastest and strongest guy out there to do that. You can do that with just technique. So it's like, listen, there's so many things that you can learn and get better at and make you a better player. You just got to take advantage of them.
I do think, though, Kyler, I do think the fact that he was able to play linebacker at his size, and even if it is high school, the fact that he was at least fast enough and could open his hips enough and be a good linebacker, that helps. So it's like, you're not playing linebacker in college, you're moving up to the D-line, but I would be scared if he was just a D lineman, because I'm like, he's going to have to put on like another 40 or 50 pounds. And he's 6'2", 6'3". He's not 6'5", 6'6".
Yeah.
So
that's part of it too.
So it's like, it's nice enough to know that he, I heard someone talking about this a while ago. And there was a point in, I forget, maybe when I was still in college and whatever, but they were talking about how, safeties become linebackers, linebackers become DNs, DNs become D tackles because of the speed of the game. So it's like you were fast enough to
become offensive linemen.
You were fast enough to play safety in high school, but you're a linebacker now. You were fast enough to play linebacker in high school. You're a DN now. You were fast enough to play DN in high school. You're a D tackle now. Until not Jordan Ross, but I'm talking about other people. I mean, even guys in the NFL, like one of our favorite players with the Titans, Keith Bullock. He was a safety in college. He got moved up to linebacker. I mean, Brian Urlacher was a safety in college. He got moved to linebacker. So, I want to use that as an example. Like, it's nice that he was playing linebacker and doing it very, very well and very effectively. That does give me hope. That's like, okay, when he does bump up another level, like another level in another level in football, but also down a level, meaning putting his hand in the dirt type deal. So exactly. If he sticks around, I'll be excited to see what happens.
Yeah, me too. I think, hey, I'm right there with you, bud.
I appreciate his effort and his physicality and his want to, though. I really do.
Yeah, I do too. Okay, these last two guys, I kind of put them together because Jeremiah Hurd and Jamal Wallace, both D linemen, not a lot of film on them. Not a lot to watch, especially Jeremiah Hurd. Just had a ton of basketball stuff. He's an athletic basketball player, which I like to see, but he's, 6'8", 305, like that's a good frame. He's athletic with a good frame. He could probably put on some more weight and still be okay. And we'll see. Like, I have no idea if he's going to be a project or not. I have not been able to find football film. So hopefully he is a good player. And then Wallace, a couple plays here and there on his Twitter, and I like it. I like that he kind of just plays around, like he's lined up in the cover in the slot and then comes on a late blitz. Like, it looks like he's in a 2-point stance most of the time as a defensive end. I think where he's at, Sierra College, they're kind of like, hey, we're letting you do what you want. And at 270, for him to run like he does, and move like he does, like, I like it. I'm impressed. Now I want to see what he looks like with his hand in the dirt, because that's where he's going to be. Talk about a really athletic 3 technique. Thank you much. Like, I appreciate that. So, he's got violence. He's got speed. He's got some moves that he already has in his arsenal with some chop rips. And there's plays where he's, chasing the ball. You know what I mean? And you don't have to, it's not seen as, I don't know, in smaller colleges, maybe JUCO colleges sometimes, of you're not giving full effort, right? Like, if you were able to make the play, then you make it. If you're not, then somebody else will make it. Who cares? But I saw plays of him pushing through my block, didn't get through my block, didn't make it, but I'm going to keep running. I'm going to get to the other side. He threw the ball. Now I'm going to keep running and keep going after the ball. So it's like, all right, I see some effort. I see some athleticism. I, see some get off, speed. I like it.
It's funny you say that so it's nice that he's coming from JUCO just because he's older. He's been around now. And the only reason I know this is because I have one of our best buddies, Tyler, played JUCO. JUCO can be an absolute joke fest, meaning there can be really good athletes there, but the coaching, the weight room, the mental side of the game, it can be pretty jokey. It can be like AAU basketball, which if you get the ball, put on a show that you're an athletic freak, that you can score a bucket. But if your guy doesn't have it, are you really going to help defense? And so JUCO really is, if there's a guy there that's playing balls to the wall, that's awesome to see that. But you have to be very mature in JUCO if you want to go anywhere, because it really is, you're either there and you're a freak athlete and you just didn't have the grades, or you did something stupid. So, once you catch the ball, you can make some stuff move, and some guys can be like, oh yeah, he can run and can catch and he can fly. He's a freak athlete. We're going to take another shot on him. But there's some other ones. you have to get noticed in a way. And so if he's doing it because he is physical, and I saw those same plays, there was only a few of them, but physical, violent, I did think he was quick for his size. I thought he was fast for his size. And if you're going to show some effort too, you're going to find a place to play on the D-line. I mean, you know what I mean? So even if he's a rotational guy, even if he's a Karat Garland or Dominic Bailey or whoever the case may be, like there's a spot for you. And I can promise you he's a hell of a lot happier to be at the University of Tennessee than in JUCO.
He is.
His life is about to change dramatically.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I can't, like you just said with Tyler, like I can't imagine the kind of crap they had to deal with just to like get practice equipment, like get clean socks to wear. Like
they didn't even where Tyler went. I mean, I was like training him. I was sending him his workouts every week on email because they didn't have a workout program.
That's insane.
Yeah, insane. So, great pod. I know we went long, but there's some guys, it's nice that we got an alien freak show. So that's great. If I was selfish, I'd like about 3 more, maybe another edge rusher, maybe a D tackle and a safety, but,
give me a O tackle freak. I need it.
Yeah, but I mean, so we got some freaks. We got some high level guys that we love their film and love what they can do. And then I think there's some other really good quality depth pieces. And I say depth to start, but maybe they can work themselves into some stuff. So overall, I know the class is probably like 10th or 11th or 12th. We haven't talked about transfers yet. We haven't watched those. We will probably get that out the week after the bowl game before we maybe shut it down for a little bit. But we'll be back for a breakdown on the Iowa game and Nico. But, yeah, good pod.
Yeah, man. Great pod.
See you, brother.
See you, brother. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening. If you are watching, please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and leave a comment in the comment section. We absolutely love them. If you're just listening, rate and review, download, re-download, and follow us on all of those listening platforms you may use. Also follow us on social media at Pancakes and Bacon for our main account on Twitter, at Pancakes and Bacon _RTI on Instagram. And then if you want to follow Reed, it is just at rbacon26 on Twitter for his main account. And for myself, it is at Kyler Kerbyson on all social medias. So check me out there. Super excited about the bowl game. Super excited about all these recruits we just got. Future is bright. Loving it. And we'll see you guys next week for a little Iowa breakdown. As always, go Vols.